Hello and a warm welcome, everybody, to this fifth and final T20 international between Japan and Singapore women's teams, coming live to you from Sano in Japan. This match also marks a momentous milestone for the Japan women's team who played their 100th international match. What a wonderful achievement for them. Heartiest congratulations to them, and may we see them develop and grow to become a regular fixture on our cricket calendar. You all are watching this feed on the official JCA channel on YouTube in most parts of the world and via fan code in the Indian subcontinent, and we appreciate your patronage and active participation via your comments during the live feed. Please also show your support by liking the videos that JCA post here on YouTube, and if you haven't already subscribed to their channel, please do so and check their accounts on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. Please help spread the word amongst your friends and other cricket-loving people. I am Sagir Parker. This is your commentator today for this match, and I will take you through the action as it happens. To recap the series, Japan currently leads 4-0 after winning all the first 4 games so far. While this final game may be a dead rubber of sorts, it is just as important for emerging countries like Japan and Singapore as they get valuable match practice for their players and exposure for their teams. This is because it's because of this exposure that players like Kendall Kadowaki Fleming has become the first Japan men's player to have a professional contract in the Caribbean Max 60 tournament. He has signed up with New York Strikers, for those who are interested in knowing those details. We also know that Mai Yanagida, who is the women's team's captain, has also been taken on board as a coach by a Melbourne-based club for their women's and junior team. And I believe that it won't be long before we see players like Ahilya Chandale and a few others achieve similar success in professional circuits outside of Japan, and hopefully within Japan in the near future. Singapore too have demonstrated gradual improvement in their matches so far and seem to have a smaller selection pool at this stage because they are the visiting side and you generally aren't allowed to bring too many players with you. Now, I can't definitively comment on the quality of players that they have back home, but they have definitely made gains as this tournament has progressed. Now, suffice to say that the level of competition amongst these teams in the East Asia Pacific region is quite high, and the margins of victories are often very close. And whilst we keep that in mind, I think Japan have done a really good job in this series, and 3 of their 4 wins have been very comprehensive. And it sort of belies the ICC global rankings, where Singapore are ranked 51 and Japan were ranked 53 before the commencement of this bilateral series. Let's see what the rankings look like after today's match and once they get updated. Now, the following for the Japan team has increased quite substantially over the past 2 years. For new viewers and those who haven't much idea about cricket in Japan, the domestic scene has also improved in leaps and bounds, with almost 30 plus clubs now participating in the Japan Cricket League, and the Japan Cup hosts a few more teams as it's a much more open tournament. With cricket getting now Olympic recognition for 2028, we might see increased participation numbers amongst kids, most likely even young men and women. And I do hope sincerely that there might be a crossover of players from baseball into cricket. And a huge thanks for this development goes to the partners and sponsors of the JCA who have supported them tirelessly over the years. The most prominent name being MKI, or Mitsui Knowledge Industries, who are the current lead partner for the men's and women's team. Likewise, a huge thanks also goes to Mizuno, who came on board earlier this year. They are the national team's suppliers, and obviously they're a globally renowned manufacturer in their own right. And it will only do wonders for the sport in Japan if a company like Mizuno starts manufacturing cricket equipment in the future. Well, we'll wait and watch this space and see how things develop. Now, we do have the confirmation of the toss. Singapore have won the toss and have elected to bowl, which was similar to yesterday's game. Both the teams have made a few changes to their teams for this final match. Japan have brought in Ahilya Chandale after her rest yesterday, likewise with Kurumi Ota. And Palak Gundecha will mark her first appearance in this series, and we'll talk about her later in the game. This is only her second international match. Japan have rested Erika Oda, Nunoha Yasumoto, and Rino Morita from yesterday. Singapore also have made three changes. They have rested Divya GK, their most seasoned campaigner, Devika Galia, and Lasya Bommareddy. And they have brought back in Soumya Pumi, Ella Ungerman, and Davina Sharma is likely to make her first appearance in this series in today's match. Now, looking at the images that are being broadcast to us, it does look a rather cloudy, sort of murky day over in Sano. This morning it was nice and bright and sunny when the players were practicing, and the weather seems to have taken a sudden turn. Now, we do see that the pitch is covered, and likewise is the square. I mean, of course, it doesn't cover the entirety of the square, but it's got sufficient enough protection for fielders who are likely to be fielding in close in. The umpires and ground staff are just making an inspection. They have lifted the covers up, probably brushing off some of that water off it before they remove it. We don't want any stray droplets falling on the turf. It looks like we might be playing on the same pitch as yesterday. Now, for people who did not tune in yesterday or get to watch yesterday's match or highlights, the pitch, while there's nothing wrong with the pitch, it was just that the conditions were such that it made batting a little bit difficult. And there was a bit of a spongy bounce on offer. And, a fair few players that got dismissed were dismissed off balls that just lobbed up into the air of the top half of the bat, or the ones where they couldn't get their timing properly to sort of keep that ball down. Nonetheless, Japan did really well yesterday. I thought this is just my opinion that despite having lost 3-4 wickets quite quickly, because at one stage they were about 4 for 41 and then 5 for 57. They actually managed to get to a total of 98 for 8. And this was courtesy of a quite sedate, sort of mature innings from Erika Oda, with able support from Akari Nishimura, Haruna Iwasaki, Hinase Goto, and then Elena down the batting order. Handy contributions from all of them. They got starts, but nobody really managed to sort of keep the momentum going. And I think this was also because Singapore have definitely tightened their bowling a little bit. They bowled better yesterday compared to some of the previous games. And I think that showed in the results. I mean, Japan didn't find run scoring very easy. Plus, with all the rain that fell yesterday, the ground was a bit sluggish on the offside as well. Well, at least one of the sides. Nonetheless, they managed to get to 98, and that was highly commendable. And in response, they were able to dismiss Singapore for 56 in the final over of the match. It was a very, very clinical bowling and fielding performance from Japan. Pretty similar to the first game. They had 3 run-outs yesterday as well, which is very, very commendable. Some of them came via direct hits, but the presence of mind that the fielders displayed and the alertness that they showed in the field is definitely commendable. And I think it just shows how well they have been practicing and training. And again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these players don't get to train like other professionally contracted players do, because these players have to continue with their studies or day jobs. And then they only manage to play cricket when the games come around. They also gather together as a team only when they're playing for national duty, or sometimes for the Women's Premier League in Japan. Now we do have the stumps going into the ground. So, it looks like while we still got that overcast condition, it seems as if it's dry enough for play to commence. The groundspersons sort of making sure that they're all aligned neatly as the two umpires make their way to the ground. Here's confirmation of the team sheets. So the Japan team 11 playing 11 today is Akari Nishimura, Haruna Iwasaki, Mai Yanagida, Hinase Goto, Shimako Kato, Ahilya Chandel, Seika Sumi, Kurumi Ota, Elena Kusuda Nen, Shronali Piranide, and Palak Gundecha. And then for the Singapore women's team, we have Soumya Gurusinghe, Roshni Ramesh, Vinu Kumar, Shafina Mahesh, Johanna Purnakaran, Ishita Shukla, Ella Ungaman, Charlotte Boyle, Davina Sharma, and Louis New Prona. All right, everybody seems to be ready and in position. Umpires signaling the commencement of the first power play. This is the first ball of the innings, and here we go. Johanna to bowl that first over. It'll be Akari Nishimura and Harune Iwasaki opening the batting for Japan. That was hit a little bit aerially towards mid-off. Fortunately, in the gap. Oh, sorry. It looks like Hinase Goto and Seika Sumi are going to open this innings. A little change in batting order there for Japan. Pretty interesting turn of events. Hinase Goto, I think, impressed everyone yesterday with her really quick running between the wickets. That's tucked just behind square, fielded by who is the fielder over there? Smriti Anand, that's the fielder over there. And the batters scamper for a single. Based on the screen, it does look like there might be a very slight drizzle, but none that's going to affect the conditions quite significantly enough. Right, Seika Sumi off the strike, and that brings Hinase in, facing a first ball of Johanna. It's a decent ball, forward defense shot, no run attempted. And sometimes it's usually good to sort of have a measured approach to the game. When you're starting in new innings, you would want to get a feel of what the ball's doing, what the bowler is doing, and importantly, what the pitch is doing. That one's played into the offside again. This time they'll get a single as the ball heads into the gap. Pretty sedate over to begin with, and already we can see that the ball's getting wet over here, and the Singaporean fielders grabbing their towels to help dry the ball as much as they can. No run this time. Good tight over so far by Johanna. 5 deliveries gone. And she comes for the final one. Bowled slightly wider and beats the edge of Seika Sumi, who had already gone wide outside off stump to hit that onto the offside. The keeper has a little fumble as well, and wide signaled over there. The umpires today are Rob Newman, who is currently on your screen, and we have Adam Burrs, who's standing at square leg. Oh my god, this one has gone straight through the legs of Seika Sumi, who attempted a sweep shot, which was probably the right kind of shot for that delivery, but unfortunately she wasn't able to make contact with that, and that ball just slips between her legs and hits the leg stump and just dislodges the bail over there. It's quite possible she might have got a bit of a bottom edge to that too. Oh, what an unlucky way to get out. Singapore strike in the first over. Japan have lost their first wicket already, and the unfortunate batter to be dismissed was Seika Sumi. And Japan's score stands at 3 for the loss of one wicket after the first over. That dismissal brings Mai Yanagida to the crease, the skipper for the Japan team, and also Japan's most capped player. And for Singapore, it looks like it'll be Charlotte Boyle who'll be taking the ball from the other end. A combination of slow and medium for the Singapore opening bowlers. Quite an interesting tactic, and we are beginning to see a trend more or less in many games where we see spinners opening the attacks in T20 internationals. More so wrist spinners if possible, like they're like gold dust in this format, especially if they're reliably accurate or attacking enough to take wickets. Charlotte starts with a loosener down the leg side, which was quite wide of the batter over there. Mai still attempted to strike that behind square, but unfortunately was too far from her. And umpire Burrs quite rightly signals a wide. And this time she bowls a bit wider on the off stump over there. Struggling to find her rhythm by the looks of it. Yesterday she bowled very well, like all 4 overs. I mean, yes, there were a couple of extras that she bowled, but more or less she was on target yesterday. Also bowled slightly fuller yesterday, which I think helped her. Today, yes, this is just the beginning. She's only bowled 2 balls. But for Singapore's sake, I think she should be able to find her rhythm quickly. Another wide called. That's 3 extras so far. Vinu Kumar, senior player in the side, having a chat with Charlotte, just asking her to calm her nerves down and just focus. Take a deep breath, and that's a much better delivery over there. Has been square driven on the offside for a single. Japan won't mind the extras. In yesterday's game as well, they were gifted about 18 extras, which didn't have much say in the grander scheme of things. But in the match before that, Japan were given 12 extras in the third game, and Singapore eventually fell short of their target by 17 runs. So it just goes to show that, especially in a T20 format, you can't really be lax with loose deliveries. You have to make sure that every ball counts and you try to keep sundries to a minimum. In Charlotte again, very well played by Mai Yanagida on the offside behind point. The ball's running towards the boundary but has been fielded quite capably. But it allows the batters enough time to score 2 quick runs. This is excellent running. As we saw yesterday, Hinase Goto is a fantastic runner between the wickets. She is very, very quick. And I think in Mai, she has found an equally adept running partner over here. A flighted slower delivery from Charlotte this time, which Mai Yanagida was quite competent in driving away, but wasn't able to find the gap on this occasion. No run off that delivery. So far, Japan have had 6 runs from the 3 legal deliveries that we have seen in this over. Good ball from Charlotte. This time a little outside edge over there. Heads off towards Gully, which has been fielded quite competently, but still allows the players enough time to scamper for a single. This was one big difference between Japan's innings and Singapore's innings yesterday. So while Japan figured out pretty easily that boundaries are not going to be easy to come by on a slow outfield, they managed to take every opportunity for a run and they maximized their options. They tried to get as many twos as possible, and there was one incident where they scored three. Singapore, on the other hand, were not as quick between the wickets, and there were many opportunities for singles, which they were able to sort of. They didn't quite take advantage of that. They were more content to block the ball and stay at the crease rather than actively look for these gaps. That's another good shot over there by Hinase. This time towards wide of cover, and this one is running towards the boundary and it crosses the fence or the rope in this occasion. First boundary of the innings for Japan, courtesy of Hinase Goto's bat. It was an excellent shot. It wasn't a bad ball at all. Charlotte bowled it straight. It was a bit loopy, but Hinase was on the front foot and was with perfect timing, drove that past extra cover. Beautiful boundary. Japan now 14 runs after 2 overs. That's as good a start as they could have expected at this stage. And once again, keeping the weather conditions in mind. Johanna returns for her second over. She's bowled well so far. She bowled well yesterday too. This one seems to be a bit of an inside edge. A huge appeal for leg before by the keeper and Johanna. Mai just walked away casually as if she knew that this wasn't going to be given out. And umpire Newman, who's a very experienced umpire, a very competent umpire as well, and noticed that there was an inside edge. This time she's met the ball with a straight face of the bat. Mai showing off her technical prowess over there. Another dot ball. Quite an orthodox field positioning there by the Singapore skipper. That's Safina Mahesh, who is their captain. Very well played by Mai on that occasion. That ball seemed to have stayed low. She adjusted for that and made sure she hit it with a straight bat. And while that was fielded by Johanna on her follow through, it looks like she's sustained a little bit of an injury. That would have stung if it hit her full. Oh, and she's lost her shape. That ball has pitched outside the cut area of the pitch. The batters take a single in the process, but this won't be a bye because this has been signaled no ball by umpire Newman. Now, there might be questions among some people asking as to why that wasn't a wide. A couple of years ago, there was a rule change. So the MCC changed the laws of the game, and any ball that pitches outside on its first bounce, outside the cut area of the pitch, is due to be a no ball rather than a wide ball. Now, this is a free hit. Unfortunately, no runs off that free hit. Decent ball by Johanna, and while Hinase played it nicely, quite an orthodox manner, I think she would have been better served by just standing at her crease and just having a wild hack at it, knowing that you can't get run out off a free hit except for run out or handling the ball. I mean, obstructing the field. That's another good forward defense by Hinase Goto. Good technique on display over there. One of the fair few players who actually have a good forward press. Now that's the end of the over. Japan 16 for 1 of 3, a very economical over, just 2 runs coming off that one. Right, Charlotte returns for her second over. First ball has been driven comfortably on the offside by Mai, and they take 2 runs. Another brilliant piece of running by these two. It is so heartening to see how much effort the players have put in into running between the wickets. They know and they realize that boundary shots are not easy to come by, and there might not be that many deliveries that they can take advantage of. And that's why they're trying as much as possible to score these runs manually, so to speak. In comes Charlotte again, cut beautifully past point by Mayanagila. What a wonderful shot that was. And that one has raced to the boundary. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Let's watch this replay again and just see Maya Yanagida's footwork. She just waits for that delivery, rocks back onto the back foot, and with perfect timing, she has placed that behind point, and that has gone fast. I'm not going to use the word trace a bullet, but that ball has gone fast. And this time, she just dead bats that ball right in front of her, showing her respect for a good delivery. That's another good delivery by Charlotte, just tempering her pace a little bit. This isn't as quick as she can bowl. It appears as if she is sacrificing some of that speed for control, which is not a bad thing to do. Similar delivery, well played short, a slight misfield over there in the covers. And this means that the batters get enough time to go for 2 runs. And it looks like Mai was already on her way for a third, but clearly there was no third run over there. The Singaporean fielders did well to chase that down and pick it up and throw it back in one smooth motion rather than fumble. Probably might have done better to sort of keep that ball from going past the inner circle, but sometimes these things happen. This was another good shot on the back foot, and this time it has gone straight to the fielder in the gully. That's the end of the over. Japan are 24 for the loss of 1 after 4 overs. They're maintaining a healthy run rate of 6, fully knowing that they have to maximize their scoring options in the power play as best as they can. Yesterday's game, they were rocked back by the loss of a few wickets. I think they had lost 3 wickets, 2 within the power play, but they lost 3 wickets quite quickly. And that did dent their chance of getting off to a quick start. Vinu Kumar comes into the attack, so we see a change in bowling. Johanna has finished her 2 over spell, and Vinu Kumar is in. She also bowled well yesterday. Ooh, that ball just hits the top half of the bat, slight outside edge of Hinase's bat, sorry. No run as the fielders are in position, and we can see that this Very misty drizzle still continues on the pitch. The players having to wipe down the ball after every delivery, especially as it's getting wet off the turf. And this is one reason why sometimes bowlers lose control, because they are not able to get a good grip on the ball as such. This one's been played down into the ground. No run once again. Out comes the towel by Vinukumar, and there she is wiping the ball. And I think because Vinukumar bowls usually with seam up, you have to make sure that you've got a good grip on the seam. Straighter delivery that sort of went a little bit towards the leg side. No run again. Hinase wasn't able to get hold of that one. She was good with her sweep shots yesterday. I mean, this one probably wasn't there to be hit as a sweep, but sometimes with practice you can. Ooh, big appeal for LBW. And given, after much deliberation, this was given by umpire Newman. What a blow for Japan. Here we go. Let's watch this replay again. It's a very slow, loopy sort of delivery. Oh, for a while I thought that might have been just sliding down leg side. Umpire Newman obviously in the best position over there to take that decision. He deliberated, he took his time, and eventually he gave that LBW. Hinase Goto departs leg before wicket for a well played 6 of 9 deliveries. A promising start to her innings, which unfortunately, was cut short by that LBW decision. Japan now 24 for 2. This is the 5th over. We are still in the power play. And just aside from the runs that Hinase scored off her own bat, I think it's equally important to remember her contribution as a running partner for Mai. The number of doubles that they scampered, is quite valuable. We have Kurumi Ota now coming into bat. She's a right-hand bowler, but a left-hand batter. It's comfortably played on the offside. No run over there. Just wants to make sure that she probably gets into the rhythm and she's able to figure out what sort of deliveries Vinukumar is bowling at her. She comes to the final ball of this over. That one just beats the outside edge into the keeper's hands quite safely. End of the over. Japan at 24 for 2. Vinukumar and Johanna with a wicket apiece thus far. Seika Sumi was the first dismissal, and Hinase Goto being the second. We seem to have a change in bowler at this end too. It's another seamer bowler. That should be called a wide. It's Ishita Shukla. Oh my god, what a farce. And this is run out. This is an absolute suicidal run. There was no need for that on the Japanese part. That ball was called a wide, quite rightly so. And oh my God, this is just, I don't know what to say. There was just no need for this madness. That ball was very wide outside of leg stump. My Yanagida stands at her crease. There's a little misfield by the keeper, and Kurumi Ota wanted to take that single, which was a very, very high risk single given that the ball had just gone off the keeper's pads straight onto the fielder who was waiting in fine leg. I mean, there was just no run over there. Even if Mai had started running, there was no way she would have gotten back to the non striker's end on time. It just goes to show that sometimes you have to temper caution with enterprise. And yes, while you want to maximize every opportunity to get runs, it shouldn't come at the expense of an easily gifted wicket. I mean, Singapore would be cock a hoop with that one. Right, Maya the strike again. This time she's hit on the offside, square cut, past point, and this one's running towards the boundary, slowing down as it gets nearer, fielded by the fielder over there in the deep, who just pulls it back before it reaches the rope, and they take 2 runs in process. That's a good piece of fielding over there. Clearly assisted by the sluggish pitch, but nonetheless a good shot and good piece of fielding. Maya Nagida is now joined by Haruna Iwasaki. Ooh, this one's fired down the leg side too, and this one's given a wide. And thankfully, nobody has run this time. I mean, that runner was just absolutely farcical. Anyways, moving on. Vinukumar once again having a chat with her player, Ishita Shukla, who's the bowler, and trying to get her to focus and rather than dwell on the wide balls. This one's just a bit again on the leg side, but not sufficiently enough to be called a wide. Players take 1 run, score climbs up to 28 for 3. This is the sixth over, the final over of the power play. And this is the over where, if you want to hit aerial shots, this is probably your best chance now before the field gets spread out after the end of this power play. Haruna Iwasaki takes strike. This is the first ball she's facing today. There should be another wide if I'm not mistaken. We shall wait for the umpire's signal. And that one's ricocheted off the keeper as well. Umpire Burrs calls it a wide. And the players have scampered for a single as well. So that'll be an addition of 2 to the total. Both the umpires confer that there are 2 more legal deliveries yet to come. Oh, sorry, 2 legal deliveries bowled so far. We started the over with a wide, on which we had that run out. Then there was a brace of runs, another wide, then a single, and then another wide. This time it's played nicely on the offside. No run over there. It's a much better ball by Ishita. Stuck to the channel outside of off. This one's played very well again by Maya Nagita. A good high elbow over there. This one beautifully driven again. A square drive to the point region, misfield by the fielder. and gives the batters an opportunity to take another single. I mean, I think one big difference, other than the bowling, which I think Japan's bowling has definitely been the better unit in between these two teams. Japan's ground fielding has also been a big difference as to why Japan has been able to put in such dominant performances in this bilateral series. We haven't seen the Japanese players misfield as many times as their counterparts have. This time the ball stays low, and you can see why this pitch is a little bit tricky to bat on. A dot ball to end that over. Japan are 32 for 3 after 6 overs. That brings an end to the power play, and we are now able to spread the field out, and we can have 4 fielders outside the circle. Vinukumar comes into bowl again. She's continuing her spell. Bowled a very, very good first over. Got a wicket as well. Starts off with a dot ball. Good flighted delivery over there. Mayanagi, the not taking the bait, plays it from the safety of her crease, plays it along the ground. Good straight bat, and a good follow through with that too. Wasn't hit in the gap, no runs in the process. When you're batting, sometimes it's important to identify the bowlers who you're likely to struggle against, and it's best to sort of play them quite cautiously until their spell comes over. This one slapped behind fine leg and just stops short of the boundary. Over there, Smriti Anand chases that down and throws it back. Mayanagi that completes 2 runs in the process. If she had left it alone, she probably would have gotten a single and an extra delivery. But I think she hit it in the hope that it would go to the boundary. But the sluggish outfield definitely put paid to that. Another flighted delivery this time from Vinukumar hit straight back past her. Dot ball. It's very difficult to hit these sort of deliveries that are flighted and are a bit on the slower side because you have to be absolutely spot on with your timing. Otherwise, you end up getting leading edges or top edges. Or, as we saw with Hinasi, you just missed the ball completely. This time it slapped past cover, and this one should go to the fence. Oh, no, it doesn't. There's a sweeper cover over there who's patrolling that area, cuts it off, throws it back, and another 2 runs to the total, courtesy of some really good running by these Japanese players. This one's jacked just a little bit back in, but my Yanagida was quite adept at keeping it at bay. Played it once again with a very straight bat, very good sort of composed footwork over there. After 7 overs, Japan is now 36 for 3. Ishita Sharma looks like she is likely to resume. Ishita Shukla, sorry, it looks like she is going to resume her spell. She's marking her run up. Oh no, we have a change in bowler. We now have Davina Sharma. Davina Sharma playing for the Singapore team for the first time in this series. It's not a debut match, but in this series, this is the first game that she is playing. Looks like she's a finger spinner. In she comes. And there we go. It's an off spinner turn, a bit slight turn over there, hit in the air by Haruna Iwasaki. Goes in the gap, and this may, oh my god, this actually does go across the boundary. Evades the fielder over there entirely. That was a good shot. It's a beautiful piece of timing. Was a bit aerial to begin with. Lucky not to have gone to a fielder. Because a short ball is not one of those very comfortable drives because it's just at that awkward height. If the fielder had put in a diving effort, we may have seen a beautiful piece of fielding at the boundary, but that wasn't to be so. Japan reap the rewards, and Harune Iwasaki has executed a good shot over there. This one's similarly short again, stays a little bit low, a similar kind of shot, similar gap. Will we see a similar result? No. This time the fielder comes from around the cover towards mid off and cuts that ball. Players take 2 runs in the process. This one slapped again towards the extra cover, and this time the fielder is there in position. Only a single, bit of a misfield by the bowler on her collection. Big flighted delivery. No run coming off that one. Maya Nagida wasn't able to put that one away. I won't say she was duped in the flight, but it does look like she did not time that one properly. Her intention to hit her across the offside was clear, but she just could not get the timing right on that one. This one's a similarly flighted delivery, played a little bit late, just washed the ball, waited for it to come to her. No run again as that ball heads towards gully. 5 balls gone in this over, one to come yet. So far, Japan have scored 7 runs. Davina making sure the ball's well and dry before she bowls it again. For a finger spinner, you don't want a slippery ball in your hand because you're not likely to get in the area you want to. This one has been a little bit on the shorter side, stays low, and has slapped by Maya Nagida on the offside, and they take 1 run in the process. End of the over. Japan, for the loss of 3 wickets, is now at 44. Run rate is at 5.5. 8 overs gone, 12 remaining in this match. We have a change in bowling now. Ella Ungerman comes into the she comes into the attack now. Starts her first over for today. Ooh, it's a bit wider outside off stump. Maya Nagida goes for that cut shot of hers again. This time unable to make any contact, and the ball just bounces over the bat into the keeper's gloves, very close to the tram lines for the wide. And Rob Newman, the umpire, just lets it go. He's not calling that one wide. In comes Ella again. A much more straighter delivery. A little bit of a late swing back into the batter at that end. Mai plays it competently enough, displays good footwork, and again plays the ball with a very straight face of the bat. This time it's just played late. No run again as that ball went straight to the fielder. And the misfield wasn't big enough for them to try and go for a second one. No run there either, and Mai did really well to actually get to the pitch of that ball, which was a very flighted sort of delivery, a very like from seam bowler's perspective, this one was given a lot of air and it sort of dipped a little bit late. Didn't have the pace to deceive the batter, and this is where I think Mai was quite capable of keeping that one out. Similar delivery in its follow up, this time misfielded by the fielder at cover, and the players scamper for one run. So far, this has turned out to be a very economical over for Singapore. Ella Ungerman not gifting away any wides, sort of keeping it within the stumps and the tram line on the offside, and sort of trying to slow things down a little bit and not give balls that are either overpitched or short enough for the players to free their arms. Comes in for the final ball of this innings. A similar delivery, and this one has been hoiked, absolutely hoiked from outside of off over the leg side fielder, but it still does not reach the fence. Two runs in the process. Harune Iwasaki wanted a third one, but Mai wisely had her hand up early, asking her not to take the third one. I think she's realized from the earlier era that sometimes an over-enthusiastic run can result in a calamitous wicket. End of this over number 9. Japan are now 47 for 3. It's the beginning of a new over by Davina Sharma. First ball has been a dot. In she comes for her second. Good delivery outside off stump, a bit short, sat squat, and this has been played nicely on the offside by Mai. Only a single for her effort over there. Whoa, that is a hugely flighted delivery which has been slapped back onto the leg side by Harune Iwasaki. Tried to get into the gap over there, but that was intercepted by the fielder and restricts the batters to just one run. It was an awfully flighted delivery. I haven't seen many such balls. I mean, at one stage it looked as if it might even be a no ball, but it sort of looped up and dipped right towards the end. This time round, it's similar, and Mai almost takes down her own batting partner, who had to duck to get out of the way of the ball's trajectory. Picked up by Charlotte or Ella over there, and has been returned back to Davina. That was Ella, the fielder. I can confirm that. It's interesting to see what Davina's tactics and strategy are over here. She seems to think that some of these flight deliveries are much more effective. And this, oh wow, that would have been a fantastic effort if that had stuck to hand. That was a brilliant piece of fielding over there at extra cover. That ball was hit in the air by Haruna Iwasaki. It was an aerial shot, and with an outstretched hand, the fielder just managed to stop that. I think it was Charlotte over there in extra cover, and that would have been a fantastic piece of fielding had that one stuck to hand. Final ball of this over now. In comes Davina. Another loopy sort of flighted delivery, this time round leg side. Umpire Burrs calls it a wide, quite rightly so. Japan have now crossed 50 runs in this innings. Score stands at 52 for 3. This one's a much better delivery and played very well by Mai on the offside. That's the end of the over. 52 for 3 at the halfway mark for Japan. I think it's a good consolidation effort, especially after the fall of that third wicket, which was relatively earlier than what they would have wanted. Both Mai and Hinase Goto looked quite good at the crease. They were batting very well. And it just, due to good bowling or maybe perhaps an injudicious stroke, Hinase was adjudged LBW. And then there was that calamitous run out by Kurumi Ota after that. And that definitely did sort of derail the Japanese innings for a fair while. These two have played good. I'm not sure what the partnership stands at. Mai Yanagida is batting at 23 of 37 deliveries and Harune Iwasaki at 11 of 7. The run rate for Japan is 5.2. And I think they might want to press on from here and achieve 100 runs by the end of their innings. That would be a good target to set Singapore. For all the viewers watching this feed via YouTube and FanCode, just a reminder that if you haven't subscribed to the JCA's channel, please do so. We would like to garner as much support as we can so that JCA continues to produce quality live streams and video feeds and highlights packages and put it up on their channel for all of us cricket connoisseurs to watch and enjoy. And every little bit helps, so make sure you not only subscribe, but you also share the link with your friends who enjoy cricket and who are especially interested in cricket in Japan. And please make sure that you hit that notifications bell as well, so you get notifications of when the next live feed is due to start. Now, at the end of this drinks break, we are back again. The fielders slowly taking up their positions. Umpire Burr is walking towards his mark. Umpire Newman is right in his position, and Ella Ungerman's making her way towards the top of her bowling. Haru Iwasaki takes guard once again. Quite a sensible thing to do after an interval. You don't want to return to your batting position and not recheck or confirm your guard. So he's got a very interesting stance, quite open top. Oh, there should be a no ball. It's being given a no ball. Looks like the ball just slipped out of Ella's hand and above waist high full toss. You can see umpire Burr signaling there that that is the first above waist high for the over as well. So that probably should count as the first short ball for the over too. Now, free hit to follow. Haru Iwasaki is an attacking batter. Let's see how heavy a toll she takes on Ella for this. She comes down the track, tries to get to the pitch of the ball, misses the ball, which also then evades the the keeper behind the stumps, who actually runs to pick the ball up. That is Louis New Brommer, and the players have run two in the process. So we shall have two buys added to the total. In comes Ella again. This much better delivery and very well played by Haru Iwasaki as well. And that should. Oh my god, there's a misfield. And oh, that would have been another boundary off a misfield over there had Roshni not been able to pick it up just in the nick of time. I mean, that ball was just a few centimeters away from that rope before she picked it up. 2 runs to Iwasaki in the process. Japan's run tally now at 57 for 3. Suddenly looks quite healthier. This one's called a wide. It's definitely a wide delivery now. Thankfully for Haruna, she didn't make any contact with that one. But then again, sometimes you have a habit of these small edges or little nicks of the bat that go behind the keeper for a boundary. Now she has an extra delivery to face. That is a kind of a reward in itself. Another full toss. This one has been slog swept through the leg side, and that goes past the boundary, clears it off very, very quickly. That one was hit with quite a considerable amount of power, but also the timing in that shot was pretty good. And that has helped the ball go past that square leg fence, probably on the bounce, and has bisected the two fielders over there. That's a very well hit shot. I first watched Haru Iwasaki play at the J Bash a couple of years ago, and with the two teams that played that particular match, she was head and shoulders above all the other players in her stroke making. She has got power in her shots as well. She times it very well, and there's a little bit of a orthodox technique. Not, I won't say like a really classical orthodox technique, but she can bat. Let's put it that way. She's definitely a good addition to this Japanese team. And at just 22 years of age, she's got a very bright future ahead of her, potentially a national star in the making for sure. This one's bowled well, swings in a little bit late. That has been hit uppishly, but it's got enough legs over there to go past mid on. And that one lands safe over there, but doesn't roll towards the boundary. Again, a sign that the ground is not lightning fast unless you time it very well, or um, you sort of get it along the ground very well. But 2 runs nonetheless to the total. This has been a relatively expensive over for Ella Ungerman and for Singapore. 12 runs coming off it so far. Law of averages catching up with Ella. First over, she gave 1 run only. This time she's given 12. That's a good ball to end that over. Well played by Haruna as well. Didn't get too greedy. Made sure that she just blocked it out. No unnecessary risk to be taken over here. Japan, after 11 overs, are now at 64 for 3 with a run rate of 5.8, which is quite healthy. If they continue in this vein, they are looking at a target of around 110 to 120 by the end of this innings, provided they continue in this vein and they don't lose too many wickets. That was the hallmark of the Japanese wins in the first 3 games. They didn't lose too many wickets to Singapore. I think the first match they just lost one. Second match as well, they won by 9 wickets. Third match, batting first, they lost six. It was just a game yesterday where they lost 8 wickets. Now we have a change in bowling. Davina takes a breather. Ishita Shukla is back in the attack, and she starts off with a wide outside off stump. The free runs just continue to trickle over here. And of course, Japan's not going to complain. These batters are not going to complain. The extra deliveries just give them a little bit of a breathing space. It doesn't add any pressure to them to continue scoring consistently in terms of keeping up the scoring rate, because the extras help with that. And they also get a free few extras deliveries to play. Full toss hit on the up by Mai, just goes towards mid off, and they complete a very, very quick run. Short ball, driven to the covers on the offside, and well fielded over there. Fielder coming in from the boundary, restricting the batters to a single. That brings Mai to the strike. She's batting at 24 of 38. She'll probably have to drop the anchor role over here and make sure that she stays undefeated or unbeaten till the end of this innings, just to help her team. Haruna, in the meanwhile, has been batting really well, and I don't want to jinx her with the commentators' curse, so I'm not going to say much about it now. But the next few players to come in are going to, I think it will be, oh, well, it's difficult to say who would come in, but it might be, it could be Ahilia Chandel who might come in. Oh my god. And the commentator's curse strikes again, but this time it's the wrong victim. Instead of Harun Iwasaki being the affected one, Ma Yanagida has been bowled off by Ishita Shukla. That ball was drifting down leg side. It hits her on the foot, and then it sort of ricochets onto the stumps. There we go. Look at that. I mean, what an unfortunate dismissal. What an unfortunate way to go out. But as a bowler, yes, you will take this any damn day, because it's still a wicket at the end, and it's the wicket of no one else but Mai Yanagida, the Japanese skipper, their most capped player, and also a leading run scorer, one of the leading run scorers for Japan. And to think that she was batting so well, so well. It's just one of those freak dismissals where a ricochet of your thigh pad, your boot, shoulders, these sort of things just goes on to hit the stumps. It's an absolutely disheartening and dispiriting way in which you can lose your wicket. Sport can be very, very cruel at times. The new batter is in for Japan, and this is Shimako Kato, batting at number 6. So that basically means Ahilya Chandel is likely to bat at number 7. In comes Ishita. Shimako plays that ball nicely, keeps it down, doesn't hit it in the air. That's a dot ball. Good over by Ishita so far. Her first one wasn't too expensive, but there's just a fair few extras in that one, after which she took a little bit of a breather. And now she's back. So far, she's only given 3 runs and taken a wicket. That one's played off the back foot into the offside. No run over there. End of this over. Japan, after 12 overs, are at 67 for 4. In terms of strategy for the team, I think it would bode well if Haruna continues to play the way she has been playing, and Shimako Kato and the players after her, provide her with able support and just get her onto the strike and sort of, keep things ticking along rather than trying to take too many risks. We see Vinu Kumar returning to the attack now, and we remember what she did in her opening spell. Slowish, loopy, flighted deliveries, which made things a little bit difficult for the players. She continues in a similar vein. That ball has been gotten hold by Haruna, who reaches, leans up forward, and that plays that towards mid off. Fielder picks it up, returns it, direct hit, but Haruna has been safe in her ground. The players complete a single. Umpire Newman adjusting the stumps over there, making sure they're all set. Shimako Kato waiting patiently for umpire Newman to be satisfied with the way he's built those stumps so he can tell her what guard she is batting at. Just a slight delay with Shimako making sure she's got a bat sorted out. And play resumes. Another loopy flighted delivery, this time played towards extra cover. No run off that ball. Of all the bowlers that Singapore has used today, Vinukumar seems to be the one who has caused more problems for the Japanese players. And I think it's not a bad thing just to treat her with that sort of respect and make sure that you see the end of her spell. This one's a bit more closer to the stumps, a slightly flatter one compared to the previous delivery. Tapped back into the ground towards the bowler. Shimako Kato not taking any risks. Ooh, this one was on the stump, stayed a little bit low and well batted by Shimako just to keep that out. Played it with a straight face of the bat, full face on. I mean, there's no edges or anything over there. It was really, really well played. This time it's been hit towards the off. That goes past point and will be a single in the process. Five deliveries gone so far. A very economical over by Vinukumar. Just 2 runs in the five deliveries that she's bowled. Has managed to not give the Japanese batters any width or ability to free their arms for big hits. This one's been patted back into the ground by Haruna very cautiously, watched the ball right till the end. I think she might have been tempted to slog it over mid wicket, but wise counsel has prevailed. And at the end of the over, she catches up with her batting partner and just gives her a brief fist bump. Um, one could sense that there was almost, with a big smile on her face. Now, at the end of the 13 overs, Japan are 69 for 4. Okay, we have a change over here. It's Ishita Shukla back into the attack. This is her third over. Starts off very well with the straightish delivery that was played well by Shimako and goes off towards mid-off, who fields it cleanly. We can see that the ball is still getting wet in the outfield, and you need to keep drying it quite regularly. Oh my God. Shimako has just shimmied down the wicket, tries to get to slog that one over the leg side, misses the ball completely, which I think probably stayed a little bit lower than what she expected. And that has hit the leg stump. A very classic case of you miss, I hit. Ishita has done really well over here to keep that ball in the channel and sort of keep it to a wicket to wicket sort of line. Shimako has completely missed that ball and has lost a wicket in the process. This was not sure whether this was a premeditated move or was it a rush of blood or just something that they wanted to try to throw the bowler off her rhythm. Clearly, it hasn't paid dividends for Japan. Singapore has struck. Japan are now five down for 69. And we now have Akari Nishimura, the Japanese wicketkeeper. She has opened the innings in a couple of the matches so far. Today she's batting at number 7. She's no mug with the bat either. She can play too. And I think with Ahilya Chandil to follow, who is also quite handy with the bat, Japan still have a chance of making it to about 100 runs. Once again, the caveat being that they don't lose too many wickets. Oh, that was close. There was a shout for an LBW. Clearly, the umpire not interested, and I was going down the leg side. But as it went off the thigh pad, the ball was slowly making its way towards the leg stump. And Akari Nishimura was wise to it and watched it carefully and made sure that she used her bat rather than her hand to stop that ball from clattering into the stumps. And this one's been hit towards mid on, and this camper a single. That is really good running. Very, very impressive running between the wickets from the Japan team throughout this series. I mean, except for that calamitous run out that we saw earlier, that they have shown not a sense of urgency as such, but a great sense of awareness and field placing. In comes Ishita again, bowls well. This one's just beaten her outside the off. And also, oh, I'm not sure if it took the edge, but the keeper wasn't able to collect it cleanly. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if she had collected it, whether they would have gone up for an appeal or not. It was really tough to say. And because we don't get a sound feed, it's hard to pick up whether there was any sound off the bat. This one has been slapped onto the offside. That goes above point, and that's a sorry, it's not point. It's mostly above cover. That's a single. So we end the over with a single. Harune Iwasaki will retain strike. Japan are now 71 for 5 after 14 overs. They've got 6 overs left, which is 36 deliveries. If they manage to get 30 runs of those 6 overs, roughly at 5 runs and over, that takes them over the 100-run mark. Johanna comes back into the attack. This is her second spell, third over, and looks like she has been hit in an attempt to try and field that ball. I hope it's not a bad injury. She's clutching her lower abdomen. There was another occasion earlier in the game where she tried to field off her own bowling and sort of got injured a little bit. I mean, her teammates are laughing. This is clearly not a laughing matter for Johanna, who's clearly wincing in pain from that fielding attempt. One person's pain is other person's mirth. That's a full toss. It should be low ball and wisely given a no ball, and that has been hit for a boundary behind square leg. A really good shot by Harun Iwasaki, who took full toll of that loose delivery. Looks like it slipped from Johanna's hand, and that was an above waist high full toss. There we go. And that has been absolutely clattered. Could have almost gone for a six, lands just short of the boundary rope. Good handy runs for Japan at this stage, especially at the beginning of the over. And with the no ball being given, we now have a free hit. Johanna will have to bowl this really, really well if she is to stop Haruna from capitalizing on the free hit. Haruna comes down the track and she swoops low and then has a sweep shot, and that just goes to deep square leg for a single. With 6 runs coming off the over so far, Japan are still on track with their not net, but with their run rate if they are to cross the 100-run mark. This one has been played on the offside, a little bit late, and they scamper for a quick single. That brings Haruna back on strike again. Hikari Nishimura playing just the right role over here, trying not to be heroic enough and giving as much of a strike to Haruna, who is quite clearly the more competent power hitter in this Japanese lineup. This time she just nudges it behind square leg. Smriti fielding over there and just restricting the batters to a single. Good piece of fielding by Smriti. It's not easy chasing those ones down on the leg side, and quite easily you can end up with a misfield or missing the ball altogether. Another run added to the Japanese total here. Ooh, this one has been hit straight back. It's sort of a bit of a uppish drive, which could have been a cotton bowled, and we think the players will have taken three, but no, it's just 2 runs to the total. Bit of a thickish inside edge on that drive. Goes straight to the fielder, no run. That's the end of Johanna's third over. 10 runs coming off it. Japan sitting at 81 for 5 after 15. Ideally, they wouldn't want to lose any more wickets. I think realistically, they'll probably take the loss of another 2 wickets towards as they come towards the conclusion of this innings, and they definitely would want to cross the 100-run mark. It's such an important and significant psychological barrier when you see that you're defending a total of 100 of 20 overs. And in many games, especially for the women's cricket in emerging countries and associate countries, 100 to 120 remains the ideal target range. I think as you get up to the more, what shall we say, stronger cricketing teams, like Australia and England, then you're looking at regions of around 140 to 170 runs. Haruna checking her guard again. This time she's going to face Charlotte Boyle. Charlotte's conceded 19 runs off her 2 overs so far. She had figures of 1 for 17 of her 4 overs in yesterday's match. She bowled much better then. Today she struggled a little bit for rhythm in her first 2 overs, and this ball has been smacked past deep mid wicket for a boundary by Harune Iwasaki, who's clearly showing her prowess over here with the bat. I mean, not only is her timing fantastic, but she adds a bit of power to her shots too. There we go. That batting stance and strike was very reminiscent of Lance Klusner to a certain extent. Well, perhaps a right-handed Lance Klusner, I might add. But yeah, that high back lift, being ready already, and she takes a heavy toll on any loose deliveries that are bowled to her. And she does have a good offside play as well. It's just that the leg side is her preferred side for scoring because it's much more natural for her to hit down that side with that power. This time she gets it past square leg, and there will be 2 runs in the process. A very well run, too, very quickly run between the wickets. Harun Iwasaki taking full toll of the bowling over here. And mind you, these are not bad deliveries that were bowled by Charlotte. It's just good batting by Haruna in this case. In game Charlotte again. This time Haruna hits it outside off over the cover fielders, and that has been stopped by the fielder on the run, one bounce, and a good throw back at the bowler's end. A single coming off that one. Japan really trying to pick up the pace over here. 7 runs already taken off the first 3 deliveries. This one has been hit straight back past the bowler by Akari Nishimura. 1 run, and playing her part to perfection brings Haruna back on strike. Haruna is batting at 35 of 26. Another full toss, and Haruna hits that one again, this time towards whitish mid on. Just goes 1 run. Last ball of Charlotte's over coming up. That one has been dragged from outside off stump, fuller length. Akari Nishimura not waiting for it to pitch and probably looking at the gap on the leg side rather than the offside field. Takes a single. End of the over, 91 for 5, Japan after 16 overs. The run rate's at 5.69. Vinukumar returning for her final over of this match. She's bowled very well so far, very economically. She's not given the batters any free hits. And she's actually made it difficult for them with her flighted, loopy sort of deliveries. Let's see what these two can do now. Waited on the back foot and hit across on towards mid wicket. That has been fielded by Roshni over there. A single in the process. Sensible batting by Akari Nishimura. That brings Harune Iwasaki back onto the strike. And this time she's played it with soft hands under the substance. Tried to go for a single, but very judiciously sent back by Akari Nishimura. There was a very, very risky run if they had gone for it. And clearly the fielder wasn't too far away. That could have been another calamitous run out if they hadn't been careful. And you can see a little bit of scuffing of the pitch happening over there with the I think that's more or less with the bowler's footmarks too. It's not in the protected area, and therefore, there's not much danger or risk involved. This one has been taken from outside of off, hit lofted overhead. Oh my God, that spill! That would have been an easy catch, and don't know who the fielder was. Could have been Davina Sharma, but we'll need confirmation of that. It was a very important wicket too. I mean, Harune Iwasaki is not a wicket or a player who you want to drop at this stage of the game, especially when she's been batting very well. She's been batting quick and remains Japan's most crucial player at this stage if they are to post an above competitive total. And that drop catch also goes to show how difficult it is for these players to hit Vinukumar out of the park. That shot wasn't timed particularly well, but I think it was partly due to the dip that Vinukumar gets as the ball gets closer to the batter, and you have to be in really good position to get hold of it. You either come down the wicket and meet it full on, or you have to have like a really big swing in order to get that off. This one seems to have been hit aerially, but this one goes over mid off, and this should go for four, unless the field. There we go, and the field wins. Not the fielder, but the outfield wins. That ball has stopped short of the boundary rope. Players should have got two. 5 runs off this Vinukumar over, which takes her run tally to 11 for her spell. This is the final ball of her quota today. Japan will not want to give her a wicket. This one's bowled, hit on the outside. That one goes past cover. There's a sweeper cover in position who comes in, picks the ball up, throws it back to the keeper, and the players have completed 2 runs. Yet another example of wonderful running between the wickets by the Japanese players. Vinukumar has finished her quota of 4 overs. She has bowled very well, giving only 13 runs and taking a wicket in the process. At the end of 17 overs, Japan are 98 for 5. It's highly likely that they will now cross the 100 run mark. The question for them is, can they cross 110? Or better still, can they cross 120? Can they score 22 runs in 18 deliveries? Oh, sorry. Yeah, 18 deliveries. Tantalizing, tempting, and with Harune Iwasaki at the crease, there is every bit of an opportunity that they can. Charlotte returns for her final over. Akari Nishimura is on strike. Umpire Burrs checking the fielder's positions, making sure everything is set. Keeper checking the fielders are set in place. I'm assuming there would be a deep mid wicket, deep long on, probably a backward square leg too. We haven't been getting visuals of the full layout of the field. Charlotte comes in, and this one has been hit towards the leg side. There's a lone fielder over there at mid wicket within the circle who chases that ball, brings it back, and returns to the keeper. A single run in the process by Akari Nishimura. Again, a sensible approach, giving as much strike as she can to Harune Iwasaki, who's clearly the faster scorer over here. She is now batting at 42 of 32. This one has been hit along the ground into the offside. The gap between the two fielders. They complete one run. A good ball by Charlotte. Well played by Harune Iwasaki over there. 100 up for Japan. That's 100 for 5 of 17.2 overs. A good batting effort despite losing two quick wickets early today. Full toss, low full toss, yeah, swept after going down, bending one knee. And that one brings a single, another single to the total. A slightly quicker outfield might have fetched them too. Ooh, leading edge. And that has gone very, that's fallen safely just over Charlotte's head and between her and the mid off fielder. And what's even better is that the players camper for a single, put it in a dive at the end. A little bit of a risky ploy over there, but I don't think Haruna expected that ball to lob off her bat like that. It was just She was just trying to play a check drive, and the ball just hits the top half of the bat and just lobs up in the air. This time she's gotten hold of it on the leg side. It hits past square leg, and that should go for a boundary. Hit with considerable amount of power, Akari Nishimura making no mistake in hitting that short ball onto the leg side. Got into position nice and early, swiveled well, hit it into the gap, made sure it didn't go to the square leg fielder, and that one has raced off to the fence. 4 runs added to the total. Last ball of Charlotte's spell coming up. Japan are now 106 for 5. This one has been patted back, straight back to Charlotte. Dot ball doing the over. 106 for 5 after 18 overs. It would be a fair statement to say that Japan are now likely to cross a run tally of 110. Question again remains, can they score 14 runs of 12 deliveries to make it to 120? I believe they can. Let's see whether it actually materializes. We're seeing the umpire have a look at the ball over here. I wonder if there's some debris stuck to the ball, or there might be patches of leather or stitching that have come out. Anyway, ball maintenance is now done. Johanna's back into the attack. This should be her final over. She's already bowled three so far. She's remarking her run up. She wants to make sure that she's not out of her usual bowling rhythm. It's quite important for bowlers that they don't make mistakes like that. In she comes again. And this time, this is just glided down towards the gully region. No run taken over there. Haruna quite content with staying put in her crease. She knows that she might get a delivery that she can swat onto the leg side and capitalize that way. I wonder if she's also mindful of her own personal milestone over here. This time she hits it onto the offside above the cover fielder. This one's heading towards the boundary, won't make it. It slows down significantly. Sweeper cover comes in, picks up the ball, hands it back to the bowler's end, and Harun Iwasaki's taken 2 runs in the process. She's now inched up to 46. This time she glides it again towards the offside behind square. No run over there. And comes Johanna again. Haruna plays it sensibly. She's not taking too many risks in this over. She knows that Johanna is a good bowler. She's paying due respect to that. And importantly, she's playing the ball on its merit. This time she's hit it back off square. That one's heading towards the boundary. Smriti running after that ball, stops it, helped by the sluggish outfield. Once again, 2 runs completed in the process. Haruna scores, moves up to 48. One ball left in this over. In comes Johanna for the last time in this match. This one swept again. It goes past fine leg. There will be 2 runs in the making. Smriti picks it up, throws it back. Haruna's completed 2 runs, and that is her 50. A very well deserved 50 for Haruna Iwasaki, coming off just 40 deliveries. She has played magnificently over here. She's played a wonderful turn for her team. Japan were in trouble a little bit early on. It's good to see the joy on her face, and she has been helped remarkably by her batting partner Akari Nishimura, and prior to that with Mai Yanagida, she has forged quite important partnerships. A good 50 for Harune Iwasaki over here. Very well done, young lady. Congratulations. We are now into the last over of this innings. The final over coming up. Japan's at 112 for 5. Looks like it's Ishita Shukla who's going to bowl the last over. Yes, there is confirmation on the screens. It is Ishita Shukla. And she comes bustling in, ball straight onto the leg stump. This one has been hit by Akari Nishimura, hits toward deep mid wicket, and the players take one single. It wasn't deep mid wicket, looks like it was backward, deep square leg. Nonetheless, it was leg side. Now that brings Iwasaki back onto the strike again. Has just completed a wonderful 50. And might I add, this is her first 50 in T20 internationals that have been recognized by the ICC. This time she sweeps again onto the leg side, gets a single for her effort. Leg bye given by umpire Birds. Japanese total creeps up to 114. Four more deliveries left in this innings. Can they score 6 runs in these four deliveries to make it to 120? That would be a significant achievement for them over here. Bit on the leg side again by Ishita. This one's nudged behind square leg. And Louis, the keeper, chases after that. A single added in the process. Japan now 115. We've got 3 more deliveries to come. So, in the 100th international match for the Japanese women's game, Harune Iwasaki has hit her maiden T20 international 50, a significant personal milestone in a significant team milestone match. Oh, bold. Harune Iwasaki went for the big slog sweep again, obviously putting team's interest above her own. Misses the ball, which keeps slightly low, creeps under her bat, and has hit middle and leg. Ishita Shukla showing once again the benefits of bowling wicket to wicket. Irrespective of your length, as long as you keep it wicket to wicket, success will come your way. Japan have now lost their sixth wicket. They are 115 for six. We have one more, or 2 more deliveries yet to come. Ahilya Chandel is the new batter on strike. We've got 2 more deliveries left in this innings. Final over of the Japanese innings. Ishita Shukla coming into bowl. And she comes round the wicket to Ahilya Chandel, who hits that one on the up, right on to mid off, and they take 1 run in the process. Japan are now at 116 with the final delivery of the day, well, final delivery of this innings due to come. Can Akari Nishimura hit this for a 4 and get the team score to 120? She's standing outside of the leg stump. She's moved in. She's hit that straight above the bowler's head. It doesn't go really that far. It's in the gap. It's rolling down, but it's not fast enough to make it to the fence. The fielder comes in from long on, and they have completed 2 runs in the process. That is the end of this Japan innings. It has been a wonderful performance by them. They have scored 118 of 6 in their allocated 20 overs. Haruna Iwasaki being the star of this batting performance with a 50, her first T20 international 50 in ICC recognized matches. A very, very well played, very well composed innings. And she only got out trying to slog sweep the ball to get her team to as many runs as possible. Good performance indeed by them. Good support from her colleagues. Maya Nagida scoring 24 of 40. And a handy contribution by Akari Nishimura as well. For the Singapore bowlers, Ishita Shukla has been the pick of the bowlers with 3 wickets of 17 in her 4 overs, and quite ably supported by Vinu Kumar, who got 1 for 13 of her 4 overs. So there we have, dear viewers. This is the end of the Japanese innings. They have managed 106-18 for six in their allocated 20 overs. We shall take a short break in between innings. Please stay tuned and join us in about 10 to 15 minutes for the resumption of the match. Singapore will be batting then, and let's hope that they have a positive response in their run chase. We shall see you shortly. Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome back. We are due to start the second innings imminently. The umpires and the players are making their way towards the middle of the pitch, closely followed by the Singapore batters. So, to summarize, Japan have scored 118 of their allocated 20 overs. This is a milestone match for the Japan women's team, and this is their 100th game. I mean to say, this is their 100th international game, and in such a significant milestone match, Haruna Iwasaki has scored her maiden T20 International 50. At least that's her first 50 in ICC recognized matches. And in their defense of 118, Japan will be quite pumped up by their significant performance over here. They will take heart and confidence that they have done very well despite the tricky conditions this morning and the sluggish outfield. Ahilya Chandel will start the proceedings for them. And this live feed is being brought to you from the Sano International Cricket Ground, which is the main cricketing hub for Japan. It's a beautiful little town nestled about 80 kilometers northwest of Tokyo. Very picturesque locations around the ground. You can see the tree covered mountains in your background on the screen every time the camera pans out. And there will always be cherry blossoms around the ground during the spring season, too. Umpire Burrs has signaled play. It'll be Ahilya Chandel, first ball of the innings. Here she goes. Bowls left arm over the wicket, a little bit of a mid stark to the way she runs in and takes that leap, but that's where the similarity ends. Her follow through is slightly different, and given the way she opens up, she's able to get that ball to swing back in to the right hander as well, and she has the ability to take that ball away and across from the right hander to a very, very handy opening bowler. In she comes in for her second delivery, cramps up Smriti Anand for room, who is not able to get a free swing of the bat. Smriti Anand opening this innings for Singapore, along with Roshni Mahesh. We've seen Smriti Anand be a very predominant leg side player. Her stance is pretty much across all of her stumps, and she heavily prefers leg side, where she ends up smashing most of those deliveries too. Packs quite a power. I think if she is able to develop her timing and her offside play further, she's got a very opening stance for now. But if she's able to develop those two aspects of her game, she can be a very handy player for Singapore for the near future. Ahilya bowls 4 dot balls on the trot. And she comes for the fifth. This one's being fished outside of off. Top edge. Oh, it lands just behind mid on. Quite safe that could easily have been a catch. Smriti Anand lucky to survive that one. Takes a single in the process. First runs on the board for Singapore. That brings Roshni Mahesh to the strike. She's looking at taking a leg stump guard and having a little bit of a trouble. Oh, there we go. Middle stump guard. In comes Ahilya, bowls very well, hits the back leg of Roshni Mahesh, and that ball has ricocheted off towards backward square leg. The players don't attempt a single. They're quite content to stay where they are. That keeps Smriti Anand on strike, and perhaps that's the reason why they did not bother to take that single. Singapore at the end of the first over, one for no loss. And as we have been talking throughout this game, that is where there's been a big difference between the Singapore players and the Japanese players. Japanese players have taken every single opportunity to score extra runs, whether that be a second run off a shot or trying to get these singles of ricochets or of pies or white balls and whatnot. And that is how they have managed to get their run tally up over 100. When batting first, this has been Japan's highest run tally so far. And I mean in this bilateral series, not across the board. Kurumi Ota, she bowls her first ball that has been fetched from outside of off stump and hit back with quite considerable power by Smriti Anand. And that goes towards deep mid wicket fence for a boundary. So Singapore have now scored their first boundary in the second over. And this is why Smriti Anand is batting at the top of their order. She is known for being a good, powerful hitter of the ball, heavily favors the leg side. She's now batting outside of off stump, which is interesting. You can see her leg stump over there. She misses the ball that was bowled quite cleverly by Kurumi Hota on the off stump, beats the outside edge, is collected cleanly by the keeper Akari Nishimura. Akari Nishimura also played a very vital hand in the proceedings earlier today, kept Harune Iwasaki good company, and remained unbeaten at the end. In comes Kurumi for her third delivery. This one's just tapped to mid wicket, and there's no run off that. Singapore seem quite content not to try and hit the ball into the gaps and take singles in the power plays. They prefer, well, at least it seems that they prefer to basically score their runs in boundaries. Smriti Anand swivels again, hits this to long on. In comes Ahilya Chandel from the deep, picks the ball up and hands it back to Kurumi Ota. One run scored, five so far in the four balls that have been bowled this over. This one might be given a wide, and it is given a wide by umpire Newman. That one crossed the tram lines. As far as the guidelines for the wide ball is concerned, the line probably belongs to the bowler. Anything outside of that belongs to the umpire. This one's been bowled full, sort of dipping in at her feet, and that has been kept out quite nicely by Roshni Mahesh. Mai Yanagida marshalling her troops and, well, rather her players quite nicely over there. She's grown into that leadership role as a skipper. That's a very rare wide ball down the leg side by Kurumi Ota, who normally keeps it very tight and usually on the offside. And she comes again for the final ball of this over. This one's outside of off. And as I said earlier, oh my God, Rob Newman's given that as a wide. For a while, I thought he would let that go by. Maya Nagida just consoling her bowler over there. And Ahilya coming in from mid on as well to have a quiet word with Kurumiota in terms of what they would like her to do. There we go. That's a much better ball. It was hit in the air, a chance of a cotton bowled, but just outside the reach of Kurumi Ota. Mai comes in, picks it up, throws it back, hits the stumps. This has become a routine pattern now. A lot of direct hits onto the stumps by the Japanese fielders, no matter where they are in the field. They really must be taking their fielding drills very seriously. End of the second over, Singapore 9 for no loss. Ahelia is going to resume her spell, and we can see the field on the leg side is being fortified over there with one fielder running across. In she comes, likely to be swinging in. This one's gone past. It's just a little bit uppish drive, doesn't make it that far. Mai comes swooping in from mid off, picks it up cleanly, and hands that back to Ahelia Chandel, who makes her way up to the top of her mark. Ahelia Chandel is quite a crafty bowler over here. She's been mixing her deliveries. This one she gets to come back in, bowled on the leg. A slight rare misfield from the fielder over there at mid on, and then by the keeper. Very, very rare chance that two players misfield on the same delivery. This has allowed Smriti to scamper for a single. She is now at the non-strikers, and Roshni Mahesh will be facing Ahelia Chandel now. This one's again swung back in, and this one has been hit nicely by Roshni on the leg side. Three fielders chasing after that and restricting the batters to only a single. I do wonder if the situation were reversed and it was the Japanese players who were running and the Singapore fielders who would be fielding. I do wonder whether the Japanese players would have taken a second run on that particular shot. We have a change inside for Ahilya Chandilna, who comes around the wicket to Smriti Anand. Very interesting change this. She needs to keep it outside of off stump. This one's cut back straight into Smriti again, who tucks it behind square leg and takes a single in the process. Singapore quietly accumulating these runs over here. Barring that one big hit for a boundary early on, they've just managed to tap Ahilya Chandel around and just score. This one's outside off and clattered into the stumps. Japan make a breakthrough. Ahilya makes a breakthrough. She has bowled Roshni Mahesh off the fifth delivery of this over. What a beautiful ball coming in around the wicket. Let's watch this replay again. There we go. In she comes, and she has angled that into the batter, beats the inside edge, swings it in, and wow, what a ball. What a beautiful delivery by Ahilya Chandel to beat Roshni Mahesh on the inside edge of her bat, clatter it to the stumps, and she sends Roshni packing back into the hutch. Singapore lose their first. They are now 12 for 1 at the end of the third over. Not unsurprisingly, it is Ahilya Chandel once again with the breakthrough for Japan in the power play overs. Well bowled. I mean, earlier I did mention that Ahilya's run up until her leap is very reminiscent of Mid Stark. I think Mid Stark would have also been proud of that swing that got the wicket just the ball before this. Final ball of this over. New batter is Guru Singha. That is Soumya Gurusinge, and that's called a wide. That's gone down leg side, quite rightly called a wide by umpire Burrs. Too much of a swing on offer by the looks of it. This time I had that tries and keeps it just at the off stump line. That's the over. At the end of the over, Singapore are 13 for 1. Ahilya Chandel with the breakthrough, who's steadily accumulating the number of wickets that she has got, and it wouldn't be too long before she surpasses Kurumi Ota as Japan's highest wicket taker. I mean, of course, this is assuming that the team gets to play irregular matches or gets to play matches on a regular basis. For most times, teams and players like these suffer because they don't get too many games at regular intervals, pretty much similar to what the big teams do. And I think, as lovers of the sport, we can only do our part in trying to watch these games whenever they are broadcast. Try to support the team, the channels, the cricket associations, the players on whatever social media platform we can. Leave comments, XYZ. Now comes in Kurumi Ota for the start of a second. She's lost her shape a little bit over there, and that has been called a wide. Went way outside the off stump. It's very atypical for Kurumiota, who normally keeps it a very tidy line. It's a much better delivery. And again, fetched from outside the off stump by Spriti, who takes a single and gets to the non strikers end. I think it might be better for Singapore if Spriti tries to get as much strike over here. She's the one who's capable of hitting powerfully, and if she can just get it into the gaps, there will be runs for the taking, whether that is doubles or boundaries. Somya there with a leg stump guard. It's taking her time settling in. Nothing wrong with that. In comes Kurumi Ota. Much better delivery, straight on off stump. Didn't really give the player that much room, who had no option but to hit it straight back. And Kurumi feels it in her follow through. Oh, this time it was on the stumps again. And Soumya sort of went all the way across her stumps in an effort to give herself the room to hit it past square leg. Unfortunately, she was only successful in finding the fielder. No runs taken over there. Kurumiota will be grateful for the dot ball. This time she bowls it outside of off, and it goes past the tram lines and duly signaled a wide by umpire Newman, who also lets Kurumi know that she was very close to the protected area on the pitch in her follow through. And she comes again. Once again outside of off stump, that late swing taking it past the tram lines, another wide. It does feel as if she hasn't got much control. She's not in rhythm as such. It looks like she might be bowling round the wicket this time. She's notified the umpire, who's now informed the batter as well. So we'll see Kurumiota bowling right arm around the wicket. Much better delivery. aimed directly at the stumps. A really good throw by the fielder over there, but Smriti Anand has made her ground. A single has been completed. There was good running between the wickets over there by the Singapore players. A little bit of delay over there. I'm not sure whether it's the field changing that is being made. Smriti now back in her usual position. A very open stance, very leg side heavy stance. She doesn't get to make any contact with that ball because that ball has gone way outside the offside and has been called another wide. That is wide number 4 in this over. Ahilia's there just letting her teammate know, just take it steady. You can see from her hand gestures, is just telling her, look, take a deep breath, just take it steady. This one's a much better delivery, angled across, and on her return, Kurumi is intimating to the umpire that, yeah, she'll be mindful of that protected area once again. Final ball in this over coming up. Wouldn't be surprised if Kurumiota takes a break after this. It's a good delivery, squirted off the outside edge that has gone past gully. Third man comes around, picks it up, and throws it back to the keeper, who is able to collect it. A slight slide over there. Seems like Akari Nishimura lost her footing in trying to gather that ball. Singapore batters have completed 1 run, and that means Smriti will retain the strike for the next over. And it looks like we will have Elena bowling the next over. Singapore at the end of the 4 overs are now 20 for the loss of 1 wicket. We still have 2 overs left in this power play. Elena will be bowling her usual right arm over the wicket. She'll be coming in from the grandstand end. And I do apologize for the difference in the quality of feed from this end and the far end. It looks like this one is more standard definition, whereas the other end is a little bit more high definition. First ball of Elena's over goes for a single. Smriti has hit that towards long on, who picks it up and returns it. There doesn't seem to be a lot of sense of urgency in these power play overs. I think Singapore are quite happy to make sure that they don't lose any additional wickets over here. They're scoring at about 5 runs an over, which is not too bad. This one's a really good ball, has been hit on the up, and oh, would you believe it? Would you believe it? It was a simple catch that went up to mid off and has been spilled as the fielder came running forward. I mean, Japan have set really good high standards in the field all throughout this series. And today, not only have we seen a couple of fumbles, but now a dropped catch as well. And Singapore has managed to take a run in the process, has brought Smriti back into the attack. She misses that one. Elena quite clever over there, and that ball has just beaten the outside edge. Now, this time Smithy hits it in the air. The fielder is a little bit further back. In she comes and that throws it. It's a good throw on the bounce just over the stumps. Collected cleanly by Elena. Restrict the batters to just one run. Another good delivery played on the offside. That's a very packed offside field over there. No run. Soumya quite happy to sort of stay at the striker's end. She will consider herself very lucky at having gotten second wind after that catch was dropped earlier this over. This time she manages to glide it just past point. Gully, the fielder from Gully comes around, picks it up, and Spriti has managed to get a quick single over there. That's the end of the over. Singapore are 24 for 1, and Soumya Gurusinghe will be at the strike again. We are now in the last over of the power play. We will see a change in bowling, and I think it looks like we might have Palak Gundecha bowling from this end. That's right, that is Palak Gundecha who bowls seam up. That was a straighter delivery, hit Soumya on the pads, and that has been collected very nicely by Akari Nishimura down the leg side. She has not allowed the batters to take that single. Oftentimes, quite easily, it's easy for players to scamper and take a run of those sort of ricochets, but Akari Nishimura has done very well over there. Palak bowls well again, straight on the stumps, a little bit of late swing, and another misfield, and that helps Soumya get her first boundary. That one was hit a bit upishly in the air. That was being an easy collect on the bounce, unless that ball spun as it hit the turf, which happens quite a lot in cricket. And it's a bit harsh on Palak Gundecha. That wasn't a bad ball at all. It was just a little bit of a bad bounce off the turf, which the fielder wasn't able to pick up. Now Palak tries to correct herself and starts bowling on the offside. This one has gone outside, way outside of off, has been called a wide. Yet another extra that the Japan team have gifted to the Singaporeans over here. And there it is. Palak has her first wicket over here. Absolutely beautiful delivery, straight onto the stumps. Soumya Gurusinghe not helping her own cause by walking all across the stumps and trying to sort of nudge it past on the leg side. And in the process, she's managed to inside edge it onto her stumps. Japan continued to make inroads into the Singapore chase. They have taken their second wicket. While we are waiting for the next batter, just to mention a little bit of a background. So, Palak Gundecha is 16 and a half years old. This is her second international match for Japan. Her first match, which was her debut match, was versus Tanzania in November 2023. This was the women's T20 quadrangular in Hong Kong. She bowled a two-over spell, conceded 23 runs, and took her maiden international wicket in that game. And while batting at number 11, she remained unbeaten on one run. She does look like a very handy seam bowler. She's got a very good smooth action, and being somebody who's quite young at under 17 years age, with consistent good coaching and opportunities, she can only improve hereafter. But it's a tremendous feat and achievement for her to make her second international appearance in this match. As I discussed earlier, even though this match might be a dead rubber in terms of the outcome of the series, it still affords different players opportunities to showcase their skills and gain some much needed match experience. A sort of a loopy, good length delivery outside of off. No run scored over there. New batter at the crease is Vinu Kumar, who bowled very well earlier. This one has to be a wide. A slightly more flighted, sort of foolish delivery misses its mark. Maya Nagida sort of showing Palakundech the ropes as to how to do it. It's always good to see teammates supporting each other. That's a much more straighter delivery, bang onto the stumps, has been played onto the leg side, and the players just scored a single. This is an interesting matchup coming up now. Palak's seam deliveries versus Smriti Anand's power hitting. She would be keen to take advantage, and I think anything straightish will probably be dispatched onto the leg side. Let's see how well Palak does over here. Can she keep it outside of off? This is her final delivery in this opening over. You can see Smriti's leg stump. She keeps it outside of off. That has been hit straight, and that goes past the inner circle. The fielder coming in from long on picks it up and returns it. Only a single in the process. Good fielding there by the fielder. Singapore 32 for 2, and that brings us to the end of the power play. We will now be allowed four fielders outside the circle. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a little bit of spin bowling being introduced over here. My Yanagida herself might come on to bowl. Shronali Iranade is also playing this match, so we can see some spin bowling from her. And we are also yet to see Shimako Kato in action, who again is a very good and very tidy seam bowler. For now, it looks like Elena will continue her spell. She bowled a really good first over. Smriti on strike. And I'm not sure if Smriti playing pretty much outside or off stump has sort of confused Elena a little bit, who bowls it down leg side for a big wide. This is very unusual by Japanese bowling standards. I mean, so far in the four games, we have not seen this many wide deliveries being bowled as we have seen today. Now, that's a much better delivery. That's been straight on the stumps, and Smriti has no problems hitting that towards the long on, who picks it up and hands it back to Elena. One run scored in the process. Vinukumar marking her guard. That one's outside of off, slapped back of point. One run completed. The extras have definitely boosted Singapore's run rate over here, who are seemingly cruising at 5.5 runs and over, well within the reach of a target of 119. They have lost two wickets in the process. That's another good ball, straightish on the stumps, and it looks like we'll have another single. This one slapped again towards the cover region and goes straight to the fielder over there, who returns it comfortably. Another comfortable single brings Smriti back on strike. In she comes. This one should be caught. Beautiful. Beautiful catch on the return. Smriti Anand has to depart. She tried to fetch that one outside of off. It was a little bit wider than what she would have wanted. And rather than going past the bowler, this has ballooned up and has gone straight to Elena's hands, who does really well in reaching out and getting that one. That's an excellent catch of her own bowling. A good vital breakthrough for Japan. Singapore are now three down for 37. One ball remains in the seventh over. Probably the discussion in the dressing room after this game will revolve around how often we try to hit these wide deliveries and how many times we get out. And we continue again. This time that has been, well, I'm not sure what to describe. There's another direct hit from a Japanese fielder. Umpire's given it as a leg by, and that looks like it's Roshni Ramesh, who's the new batter. Yeah, it is Roshni Ramesh. End of the over. That's Singapore at 38 for 3. Singapore's middle order has been the main contributor of their runs across this series, specifically Vinu Kumar and Roshni Ramesh, who are now at the crease. In comes Palak, sort of a loopy full pitch delivery, or rather, upishly pitched, over pitched. It's got two dot balls in a row. A much better start to this over compared to her previous one. This one's played backwards of square. No run over there as it goes towards the fielder. If Singapore have any hopes or chances of winning this match, those rest heavily on the shoulders of these two players over here, Roshni Ramesh and Vinu Kumar, especially in the absence of Divya GK, who is their most experienced player. Four dot balls on the trot by Palak, and she comes for the fifth one. And this one's bowled outside of the leg stump and will be called a wide. One more extra for Singapore. Palak bowls a slower one, and this time Roshni does not manage to get hold of that. That goes behind or underneath her bat and hits a flush on the thigh, and the ball just drops dead over there. There's a brief, small appeal from both the keeper and the bowler, but that wasn't given out clearly as the ball was heading down leg. Final ball of this over now. This has been played on the leg side, goes in the gap at mid on, collected by the fielder in the deep, who returns it quite promptly, and that's just one more run added to the tally over here. Singapore had now 40 for 3 after 8 overs. We can see Akari Nishimura signaling for her helmet, which can only mean one thing, and that means the likely advent of spin bowling because she will be keeping up close to the wickets. It'll be interesting to see whether that's Shronali who's bowling that one or whether it would be Mai Yanagida. Some adjustments being made to the field over there as we wait for the next bowler. That looks like Shronali Ranade is back, not back, but is introduced into the attack. First ball goes for a single. Shronali bowled quite well in the last game. She managed to get 3 wickets for 10 runs off her 4 overs, bowled very, very economically, kept things tight, and did not really give that many freebies to hit as well. Quite a capable offie, and she starts with a wide as well. I found a few places. It looks like the wide malaise is now affecting all the Japanese bowlers like an infectious disease, something that would want to curb quite quickly. This one's much better. Slapped on the offside by Vinu Kumar. They'll take 1 run in the process, and that brings Roshni Ramesh onto strike. It appears that Shunali might be struggling a little bit in gripping that ball, which could explain why we saw that wide from her earlier. She has now used that towel, kept the ball dry, in she comes again. A loopy sort of flighted delivery that's hit straight to the fielder at mid wicket. And comes again. This one's another deliberately loopy delivery, a bit high on the full toss, and that is brilliantly fielded there at backward deep square leg. And I think it looks like it's Ahilya Chandel with her athletic fielding at the boundary. A no ball has not been called, so it feels as if the umpires have deemed that this wasn't above waist high. Shronale gets away with that one, and she'll resume. You can see there's a slight deliberate pause by the time she gets into her delivery stride and then the actual delivery of the wicket. one does wonder whether she's getting her bearings right and sort of focusing on the area that she wants to target, or whether it's a ploy that we have seen used before by the likes of Seklen and Saeed Ajmal. Even Ashwin has used that quite well in test matches, T20s, and I think a lot of bowlers have copied that sort of ploy later on. Shronali finishes the first over of a spell. That's 4 runs off a first over. Singapore at 44 for 3 after 9. Palak Kundecha continuing her spell over here. That's a beautiful straight delivery aimed at the stumps, hit in the air a little bit uppishly by Roshni, who also manages to complete a single as that ball goes towards a long on. That's another good delivery ball there by Pollock. That's been played backward of point. Fielder in position, no runs on offer. Singapore players not looking for any risky singles, quite content to stay and play from where they are. That's another good delivery by Palak. Hit in the air. That one goes past the keepers, bisects the fielders, and that goes for a boundary in the mid wicket region. That is a very good shot by Vinu Kumar. Wasn't a bad ball by any stretch of imagination. Perhaps just a touch on the slower side. Vinu Kumar rocks back, plays on the back foot, and gets that one perfectly into the gap. Singapore have managed to get a boundary after a long time now. And the score inching towards 50 for them. They are now at 49 for 3. We are in the 10th over. 3 more balls remain before we have a drinks break. That one's bowled up wide. That's a good delivery on the stumps again. Hit once again onto the leg side. This time straight to the fielder. Vinu Kumar happy with just that single. This brings the 50 up for Singapore. 50 in the 10th over. Oh, looks like they scored. They reached 50 at the earlier when we had the wide ball. My apologies. Singapore now 51 for 3. This one's hit into the air. Does it go past the fielder? Yes, it does. That goes above mid off, and that has gone for another boundary. Roshni Ramesh getting in into the action at this stage. It's a beautiful upish drive for a 4. Lovely shot. Again, nothing wrong with the ball. Just a little bit short on pace, perhaps. Roshni Ramesh in position early and hits that one nice and lofted over mid off. Last ball coming up before the drinks break. Full toss on the legs. This one has been swatted by Ramesh backward of square, and that goes for another boundary. Singapore finishing this over very strongly. Three boundaries in this over and a wide that has given them 15 runs so far. That's the end of over number 10. At the halfway mark, Singapore are 59 for 3, and that is exactly half of Japan's runs. Japan scored 118 earlier at 59 for 3. Singapore are halfway towards the Japanese total at exactly 10 overs in this match. Their current run rate is 5.9, courtesy of a very expensive over from Palak just before this drinks break. This definitely keeps things interesting. It keeps Singapore in the hunt in chasing their first victory in this five match T20 international series that is being played at the Sano International Cricket Ground in Japan. Singapore have demonstrated improvement as the series has progressed, most notably with the bat and also with the ball. They did have an off day with the ball and in the field today, but it looks like they're trying to compensate for that with their batting. And as most of you viewers know, that Ramesh and Kumar are Singapore's mainstay in the middle order. A lot of the responsibility in this run chase rests with them. If Japan manage to get successful in breaking this partnership within the next 2 to 3 overs, then Singapore will find themselves in a spot of bother. And I think with bowlers like Shimako Kato and Ahilia Chandel and Elena bowling really well today, Shimako is yet to bowl her first over, so she's got 4 overs up her sleeve. We've got Mai Yanagida as well, who's got 4 overs up her sleeve. So Japan does have options in which they can restrict Singapore, and they could perhaps seal another victory over here. Welcome back. We will be resuming after this drinks break, and Shonali Iranade will continue to bowl. Downs bowled down the leg side again, and she clearly shows her frustration after that. She bowled really, really well yesterday in bagging 3 wickets. And again, like I said, I just don't know what's overcome these Japanese bowlers. There's been far too many wides that we have been seeing today. That one's a much better delivery. It was swept backward of square into the deep region over there, quite competently picked up and returned by the fielder, restricting the batters to just 1 run. Bit of flatter, 2 bounces, and rightfully given a no ball by umpire Burrs. To me, it seems as if Shronali tried to compensate for that flighted full toss she bowled earlier, tried to pull it short, but there wasn't enough power or pace in that delivery to get to the batter on 1 bounce. 2 bounces means that's a no ball. Now, this follow up ball has been hit in the air. It was a free hit, and only a single has been taken off that. In comes Shronali again. This one's bowled onto the leg side. A swivel and a swipe by Roche by Vinukumar. and the batters are restricted to another single. Runs coming in slow, steady trickles over here. Singapore's run rate has now crossed 6.1, which puts them ahead of the required run rate in this chase. And this is probably the first time in the series that Singapore have been ahead of Japan in their run rate. And that's given another no ball, another double bounce before it reaches the keeper, and that's been called another no ball. Just waiting for the umpire to signal a free hit, which umpire Buzz has not. That one's been called a wide. Yet another extra. Akari Nishimura has not managed to keep that clean, and now umpire Buzz signals the free hit from the earlier delivery because we have had another extra ball being bowled over here. This is now two wide balls, two no balls in this over. It's not what Japan want. This time Roshni comes down the track, takes that on the full, and that has been hit towards deep mid wicket. Umpire is confirming that there are two more deliveries left in this over. It has been a rather long over. Not too many runs given, but just too many balls. This time it's been played on the offside. Yanagida on the throw does not connect with the stumps on the full. There's been a ricochet after the backup over there by Elena. And fortunately for Japan, that hasn't gone too far away to allow Singapore a second run on that overthrow. That is the end of the over. A quite productive over for Singapore by every bit. There's one more ball left. Is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, one more ball left in this over now. My apologies for the miscommunication earlier. This one has been hit onto the offside. That goes past long off and beats Yanagida and crosses the boundary for a 4. This is good batting by Singapore over here. They've taken a very heavy toll on the Japanese slower bowlers, both Palak Tandecha and Shronali Ranade in the firing line over here. Singapore's run rate has now climbed up to 6.5, so they're well and comfortably above the required run rate at this stage. Their tally after 11 overs is 72 for 3. They will be feeling very confident about this. And may I remind you that in the third game, when Japan scored 111 for 6 of their 20 overs, Vinukumar and Roshni were the two players who managed to get Singapore to 94 for 5. While they were playing, Singapore had a chance of getting to that total. Unfortunately, both of them were run out in that run chase. And now we see a bowling change. Yanagida comes into the attack. This is one bowler that Singapore will be a little bit wary of. Mai does not bowl as slow as the other ones. There's a little bit of pace and zip in her bowling. Doesn't give a lot of width on that one. And she's managed to keep that down to a single again. And as we see, the illness that is wide deliveries has affected Yanagida as well, as she bowls one down the leg side. It's much more tighter this time. Vinukumar lucky not to have trodden on her stumps as she swiveled across. Looks like that ball might have hit her on the gloves or thumb. She's not wincing in pain, but we can see her sort of swatting her wrist, her hand. It's a short ball from Mai, hit in the air, and that's caught. That is fantastically caught. I think that might be Iwasaki who completes that catch. But much needed breakthrough for Japan. Much needed breakthrough from Japan as these two players were looking set to take the game away from them. And who would have thought that a short delivery like that would fetch you a wicket? But oftentimes we see that in cricket that average or below average deliveries often get you the breakthrough, and Japan will gladly take this breakthrough. Singapore are 76 for 4 after 11.4 overs. That's Roshni Ramesh, who has just lost her wicket to a wonderful bit of catching by Haruna Iwasaki, who was probably positioned in that place to stop the single. But she will count herself blessed that she got a catch headed her way. Louis Newbronner is the new batter who's coming to join Vinu Kumar. There's 2 balls left in Mai's over. In comes Mai again. Ooh, is that an edge? Yes, that's an edge. She strikes first ball. Louis Newbronner has gone first ball off an outside edge. And you could see that as soon as that ball had nestled into Nishimura's gloves, both Mai and Nishimura were up in their appeal. Look at that. That is an instant reaction from both. No hesitation over there by umpire Newman. He quickly gives that one out. Japan now clearly tightening the screws over here. That is fifth wicket down for Singapore. What a difference the last couple of deliveries have made. There was a time where Singapore were cruising nicely at over 6.5 runs per over and looked well set to achieve that target with Vinukumar and Roshni in the driving seat over there. Roshni hit a short ball, scooped it up towards extra cover, gave that catch, and since then the complexion of this game has turned significantly. Maya Nagida now on a hat trick. Can she add a hat trick to her list of achievements? She's already made history in this series by becoming the most capped player for Japan across both the men's and women's teams. That has been her hat trick has been denied. That's well played over there, just patted back into the ground by the new batter, whose name I shall bring to you shortly. That is the end of the over. Singapore are now 676 for 5. That's 76 for 5 after 12 overs. Run rate still above the required run rate for a win. So the new batter is Davina Sharma, by the looks of it, who will now be at the non-strikers end. Ahilya Chandel returns to the attack now. I think this is really good captaincy by Maya Nagida. She's getting her lead strike bowler out and trying to get as many wickets as she can at this stage of the game. She knows that the best way to ensure this win is safely and securely within Japanese hands is to get rid of Vinukumar now. And to do that, she's brought in her best strike bowler. In comes Ahilya. Left arm over the wicket. That is a full toss, but because that has hit stumps, I don't think that could be given a no ball. Ooh, this was interesting. This is interesting. Umpire Burrs has called it a no ball. He looked at his colleague at square leg, who confirmed that that was above waist high, and they have called it a no ball. That's definitely above waist high. I think it has taken the edge of the bat and then gone on to hit the stumps. Yeah, definitely takes an edge of the bat and gone on to hit the stumps. Free hit coming up. He'll bang on target this time. Gets that one going across, slanted it across Venukumar's bat. Oh, sorry, Venukumar is at the non-strikers end, so that was slanted across Davina Sharma's bat. No harm done over there. And Ahilya adds to her tally of extras as well. I think at this stage, every bowler has now bowled at least one extra. And she comes again, bangs it in short, but that one doesn't rise as much as expected. Stays quite a lot lower and very well played by Davina. She managed to keep that away from the stumps. She presented a full face of the bat and just patted it back down onto the ground. Wasn't really going anywhere because it was just like a little grubby delivery. This one's full onto the stumps. This one's fielded very well at short mid off. After that initial no ball, Ahilya has bowled three dot balls on the trot. Make that four dot balls on the trot. Now she's coming round the wicket. Ooh, swings back in. This one has hit her in front of the stumps. Umpire Burr says not out. Good appeal. It's very similar to that earlier wicket that we saw Ahilya take with that in swinging incoming delivery that not only swung in but also jagged back into the right hander. This is fantastic bowling by Ahilya Chandel over here. Another good delivery clatters into the stumps, and Ahilya makes a vital breakthrough. She has gotten Davina Sharma and has bowled her lock, stock, and barrel, completely beats her with the movement off the pitch. Davina was in no position to play the ball, plays all over it, misses the ball completely, and that has demolished the stumps. Ahilya Chandel has got two wickets in this innings so far. Singapore have slid down to 78 from 6 when they once were 71 for 3. And both Roshni and Vinu were looking quite good at the crease. And since then, they have lost three quick wickets for the addition of only about 6 runs or so. That wicket also completes Ahilya's third over, who now has figures of 2 wickets for 7 runs. Mayana Gida will resume her spell from the far end. She has also bowled very well, and she has also bowled an extra delivery. Adjusting the field a little bit. She's trying to get a gully fielder a little bit finer by the looks of it. Ishita Shukla on strike. She's the new batter. She's hit that into the gap on the offside. That will be collected by the sweeper cover over there, who returns a really good throw. A single brings Ishita Shukla on strike now. Sorry, that was Vinu Kumar who was on strike earlier. Ishita Shukla comes onto the strike now. That's a good delivery. Boy has pinged Ishita Shukla straight in front of the stumps, and that is as plumb and LBW as you can get. Absolutely spot on. Great piece of accurate bowling. Mai Yanagida has struck once again. That is a beautiful ball, just straightened after pitching, beats the bat and has hit Ishita Shukla on the back leg, absolutely plumb in front of middle stump. Singapore have now lost their seventh wicket. Their score is on 79, and Maya Nagida has three wickets for the cost of 5 runs in only her second over. She has been terrific with the ball, and it was her double whammy in her previous over that brought the Singapore run chase to a halt, or at least slowed it down significantly. Singapore's run rate is now back below 6 runs and over, but crucially, they have lost 3 more wickets, or rather 4 more wickets, since um, the two previous overs, or in the previous 2 overs, and that has been the biggest blow to them. I think the challenge before Singapore now is that they do not lose all of their wickets once again. And she's bowled again. Beautiful, beautiful bowling by Mai Yanagida, who grabs her fourth. This one has beaten Johanna Purnikaran, the new batter, comprehensively, who plods her bat forward in an attempt to defend that ball and keep it away from her stumps. But in doing so, she has played all over it, played inside the line of the ball, and Mai Yanagida's accuracy has given her rich dividends now. She has picked up her fourth wicket. She is once again on a hat trick. Singapore are now 79 for 8 and in absolute dire straits over here. Will Mai be able to achieve this feat? She is once again on a hat trick. This time she bowls outside of off, and that has been played squirted towards the point region by Charlotte. A ball that stayed a little bit low, and Mai Yanagida has been denied the hat trick for the second time in 2 consecutive overs. This time Charlotte plays it off the back foot, and that has gone towards cover. Well fielded in the field, no run given. Another dot ball to end this over. Japan have fought back very well through Maya Nagida and Ahilia Chandels. Between them, they have taken 5 wickets in 3 overs to sort of arrest Singapore's charge. Singapore at one stage were 72 for the loss of 3 wickets. They now are 79 for 8. The destroyer in chief has been Mai Yanagida, who has not scored, who has taken 2 wickets twice in an over now. And just to recap her list of accomplishments. So we have talked about how Maya Nagida now is the most capped player in Japanese cricket across both the men's and women's team. She is also the highest individual scorer for Japan women's in T20 internationals with her 64 not out. And she had the chance twice now to add to that list if she were able to take a hat trick. Elena comes into the attack, bowls a straighter one, sort of a full length delivery that has been hit towards cow corner, and there's a run out. Wow. Japanese fielding has struck once again, just as when you thought there was no risk in that run and it looked like a clear two. Somehow, the Japanese fielders have managed to conjure up a bit of a magic over there. That ball has been returned from the deep. Elena takes it on the bounce and quite cleverly just sort of parries it to the stumps, and she catches the batter well short of her ground. Unfortunately, that Charlotte Boyle, who's run out, umpire Burrs had been in perfect position to observe the proceedings, and he has given that an out. Another run out over here by the Japanese fielders. They have consistently put in a great performance in the field. We have only seen two pieces of misfielding earlier today. One was that dropped catch, which threatened to become quite expensive, but fortunately wasn't. Helena comes back into the attack now. She's continuing her over. That one is called a wide. Singapore are now 80 for 9. This is the 15th over. Both these players, Vinu Kumar and Ella Ungerman, have got a tough job on their hands if they are to survive the next 6 overs. Ooh, this one was so close to the stumps and bottom inside edge that just went towards fine leg, and a single has been scored. But that could as well so easily have been an inside edge onto the stumps. A piece of good fortune for Vinu Kumar, who survives that one and now is comfortably at the non-striker's end. She has actually batted well. She has scored 18 of 19 deliveries, and she was enjoying a good bit of support from Roshni earlier on. And it looked like Singapore might be on track to win. But the Japanese players, I think, were not the bunch to sort of doubt themselves. They had their confidence riding high after 4 consecutive wins in this series, and not to mention sort of posting competitive totals in tricky batting conditions. They never gave up. True Japanese spirit, they have fought back. Helena conceding another wide. That's the third wide in this over. I think Coach Dino will be having a quiet word with his bowlers after this game. He'll be happy that his players have won this series pretty much 5-0. It's just a mere formality before that result is confirmed, but I think he'll also have a quiet word about areas that they need to develop in. It's much better, straighter delivery. Ella Ungerman manages to connect back to ball on that one. No run over there. Probably don't need that many runs when you're getting a consistent trickle that has been coming through extras. This one straight on the pads, and it just goes between the pads and the stump. Oh, that is a very, very small gap, and that ball has managed to get through the gap. Delina can't believe her luck. She had hoped that that probably would have hit leg stump. This time again on the stumps. Ella's managed to connect with that one. That ball goes just square of the leg stump. And quite wisely, no run taken over there, as that means Vinukumar is on strike for the next over. With 9 wickets down, they are trying their best not to be all out by the 20th over. And with the prospects of a victory quite quickly diminishing, a lot of hope rests with Vinukumar, and it's important that she takes as much of the strike as she can. So, a good decision over there not to take the single at the end of that over. My returns. Another ball again on the stumps. This time, the gap manufactured by Vinukumar having gone across her stumps to take good advantage of the gap behind square on the leg side. And we can see Maya Nagida is now plugging that gap. She's sending Palak Gundecha over there inside the circle. Vinukumar completed 2 runs after that one. She's back on strike again. Ooh, that's a close call. Venukumar tried to cut that one past point, wasn't able to make any connection, and the ball misses the outside edge and nestles into the gloves of Akari Nishimura. Mai comes in again. A flighted delivery, this time hit uppishly, had gone to the hand of the fielder over there at mid wicket, who manages to prevent that ball from going any further. Technically, it'll go down as a drop, but that is not exactly an easy chance. Importantly, this brings Ella Ungerman on strike, and Mai has got 3 balls to see if she can take the final Singaporean wicket. She'll have to bowl really straight for this, as anything outside the stumps might be just left alone. And Ella makes contact with that ball that was heading towards the stumps. Very well defended, does really well to keep it out. Mai has got 2 more deliveries. And this time as well, it has been kept out by Ella. You can see the fielders closing in. I wonder if she might do well by bringing in a closer field, perhaps adding a slip and maybe a forward short leg or something, just to add a little bit of a pressure on the young player. Pressure does funny things to a batter's mind. This time it's outside of off stump. Ella takes a big swing. The ball doesn't go really that far. End of the over. 3 runs coming off it. Singapore are 87 for 9 after 16 overs. It looks like who's the new bowler? Looks like Kurumi Ota will return, and it seems like she will be bowling round the wicket. No, she's continuing over the wicket. This one straight on the stumps. Batter doesn't manage to get hold of it. A little bit of a spongy bounce over there from that pitch. We have seen some deliveries stay low, and some deliveries have that spongy bounce. This one goes harmlessly behind the batter, collected quite cleanly by Nishimura behind the stumps, who's proving to be a very handy wicket keeper for Japan. In comes Kurumyota again. Good rhythm to her bowling in this over so far. This has been hit behind point. The fielder from sweeper cover position comes in, picks it up, and batters complete 2 runs. Singapore are now 89 for 9. A run rate of around 5.5. Singapore still will fancy their chances to aim for this win as long as Vinny Kumar stays at the crease and gets most of the strike. She is quite capable of hitting the ball into the gaps. She knows where the fielders are, and she is capable of hitting the big shots too. This is spurted up in the air. This should be an easy, comfortable catch, which is completed. Japan have managed to get Singapore all out for 89, and they win by almost 28, 29 runs in the process. It's all over, all over. Singapore briefly threatened to sort of snatch this victory from Japan, who have managed to keep calm heads on their shoulders and ably led by Mai Yanagida in the field, who today has led with the ball quite handsomely. She has called in the right changes at the right times, got her strike bowler back in, brought herself back into the attack when Singapore threatened to sort of march towards a victory. She has dented those hopes, and in the result, Japan have won this fifth and final T20 international by 29 runs. What a wonderful display by Japan overall. Singapore run chase being spearheaded over there by Vinu Kumar, who was the last wicket to fall for 23 of 25, ably supported by Roshni for a period of time, and a good opening there by Smriti Anand at the top. For the Japanese bowling side, the star performance today has come from Maya Nagita, who got 4 for 8 of her 3 overs, and Ahilya grabbed another couple of wickets to add to her tally. Kurumi Ota, Elena Kusudane, and Palagundecha all joined in with a wicket apiece. Shronali Ranade bowled 2 overs for 17 runs without any wickets. Japan have now completed this victory by 29 runs and have won this series 5-0, a comprehensive win in this bilateral series, an absolute whitewash. Now, admittedly, Singapore are not playing at home, and when you play overseas, its conditions do come into play. But despite what the ICC rankings say, this has been a very comprehensive performance by the Japanese team, who were head and shoulders above their opposition in all three departments of the game, especially when it came to fielding. They had a number of runouts, and I think at the end of last match, we counted that there had been 10 runouts in 4 games. And in today's game, we have had a couple of runouts again. We had 1 run out today, so 11 runouts in total in this series, which is no mean feat. And these were the ones that they actually were successful in getting the dismissals. They were more direct hits at the stumps that we saw that didn't get the wickets. It has been a wonderful series, a good performance by the players overall, incremental gains for both the teams, and a huge thank you to Japan Cricket Association that has relayed and broadcast these games live via YouTube in most of the world and via fan code to the Indian subcontinent. I would also like to thank MKI and Mizuno, who are sponsors and partners of the national team. The kit supplier is Mizuno. MKI is the partner for both the men's and women's team. It wouldn't have been possible without their support. Big thanks to all the ground staff who have worked tirelessly over the last couple of days to get the match, or the ground match ready despite the rain delays and the weather conditions. They have played a crucial part in making sure that we have had a good game on our hands. A huge thank you to all of you viewers who have tuned in via YouTube or fan code, and thank you once again for supporting the JCA and the Japanese team over here. It isn't without your support and patronage that JCA are able to continue to ensure that cricket continues in the country. This is Sagir Parker, your commentator for the day, signing off. Thank you, everyone. We shall see you again when we have the next round of international games on Japanese soil. I hope everybody has enjoyed the match today and the series in general. We are wishing you well wherever you may be in the world. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy your time. Thank you very much. This is me signing off.